All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel here for the latest SUV news segment of the channel. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do so. It would greatly help the channel. This here is hot off the press from General Motors, of course, for the 2024 Chevrolet Equinox EV that is going to be roughly around $30,000, and they are saying here that it's going to be the SUV that you might actually consider buying. It's going to have a 300-mile range with an optional all-wheel drive. And let's get to the article here, because this is very interesting, because for sure I strongly believe that if you can get an SUV at that price, around $30,000, that is an EV, I think they're on the right track here for really a lot of success with this one. So they're saying here, when it goes on sale in the fall of 2023, the Chevrolet Equinox EV will offer a compact SUV interior space, up to 300 miles of range, and an optional all-wheel drive, and a starting price of around $30,000. Chevy isn't yet talking about pricing in any more detail though, but it's a big enough claim to qualify as a metaphorical mic drop for sure. And I do agree with that statement for sure. I mean, if they can give, a family that's looking for an SUV at around $30,000 that's also electric, I think it's going to be, pretty interesting for a lot of the other competitors to try to meet that price. Because, if you're looking at, price points here, the base price for the EV, for the Equinox EV, it's going to be thousands of dollars cheaper than a rivals. The Ford Mustang is coming in at $44,995. You got the Hyundai, which is starting at around $41,245 for some of their models. The Kia EV6 is around $42,695. The Volkswagen ID4 is at $38,790, and the Tesla Model Y, which is $69,440. So, $30,000 for an SUV, an electric EV. Yeah, I think they're on the right step here for sure. Chevy's price advantage is fueled by GM's industrial might and the fact that, for better and for worse, the company knows a thing or two about parts sharing. What they're saying here is the Equinox EV is built on the BEV3 architecture, and that also underpins the 2023 Cadillac Lyriq and the 2024 Chevrolet Blazer EV. It's going to be powered by the company's Ultium batteries and motors, which drive everything from the 2022 GMC Hummer EV to the Cruise self-driving shuttle. And it also will be sharing components such as the steering wheel, seat frames, and infotainment screen with the Blazer EV and the 2024 Chevrolet Silverado EV. I think, anybody that's looking for a vehicle at this price point is not gonna go wrong here. They're also saying with the Chevy EV, for as long as people have been carousing that electric cars are too expensive, Chevy has been quietly rebutting the argument. In 2013, the Spark EV city car launched with a sticker price of just below $20,000 after a federal tax credit, of course. And the Chevrolet Bolt EV arrived around 2016 with a significantly more interior space and range for less than $30,000 after government spiffs. And today, while almost every other vehicle has become more expensive, the 2023 Bolt EV has seen, its price slashed to $26,595 for that vehicle. So I think this one here is going to be a real good, it's going to be a winner, I think. You can take a look at those cars as proof that the reason EVs haven't taken over our roads yet isn't based on price alone. Yes, I do agree with that as well. The problem is that up until now, affordable electric cars have been too small or have lacked the range. Again, I do agree with that statement. A lot of the vehicles that people that could afford when it comes to an EV vehicle, they are kind of, they are kind of small. So, you know, if Chevrolet is going to come up with an Equinox, you know, a lot more interior room, I think that, again, they're on the right path here. They're also saying with the key features and have looked to, sorry, but just to look at the Bolt to capture the attention of most new car buyers, the key question then is, does the 2024 Chevrolet Equinox EV avoid repeating those mistakes? I don't think it will, because the Chevrolet Equinox is it's one of their main sellers for sure. They're also saying here the Equinox's low starting price will buy a front-wheel drive 1LT trim, good for 210 horsepower and 242 foot-pounds of torque, and an estimated 250-mile range. Upgrading to a larger battery pack will boost the range up to 300 miles, while all-wheel drive versions, which are only offered with the big battery, should deliver about 280 miles per charge. The all-wheel drive model's additional motor also lifts a total output of 290 horsepower and 346 pounds of torque. Comparing similar models, the Ford Mustang Mach-E makes at least 56 more horsepower than the Equinox EV, but presumably at a serious price premium. Yeah, that's true. If you are looking at the Ford Mustang Mach-E, you know, you're going to pay the price for sure, yep, on the sticker. At DC fast charging stations, the Equinox EV adds 70 miles of range in less than 10 minutes. That's cool. So you can, you know, get 70 miles of range for under, you know, 10 minutes while accepting up to 150 kilowatts of power. That's an improvement over the Bolt EV and the Bolt EUV, which max out at 55 kilowatts, but it falls short of the 250 kilowatt peak of the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Kia EV6. At home, the standard 11.5 kilowatt level 2 charging system, if you have it at your house, will add 34 miles for every hour plugged in, while the top trim 3RS model can be upgraded to a 19.2 kilowatt capability, which raises the rate to 51 miles per hour. So that's pretty cool. If you compare the base Equinox EV to the Bolt EV on price and powertrain specs alone, you might think of the newer car as a step backwards, but the Bolt EV currently offers 262 miles of range for about $3,500 less than the Equinox's promised starting price, but in range in dollars, the Equinox EV reflects the price of fashion. The base model rolls on 19-inch wheels, and 20-inch and 21-inch wheels will be available if you want to order those ones. And while beauty is in the eye of the internet comparison, the Equinox's proportion, at least, are less phone booth-like than the tall and narrow Bolts. The Equinox's EV is longer and wider than the gas-powered crossover that it shares a name with, yet the EV's lower roofline means the electronic Equinox has less cargo space with the rear seats folded. There's no front trunk in the EV either. Matt Purdy, Global Chief Engineer of Electric Vehicles at GM, says that any frunk would have been quite small, as the inventor mounts directly on top of the motor in GM's Ultium parts kit. He says that when asked in clinics about this additional cargo space, most customers say they aren't willing to pay what Chevy would have to charge to trim out the underhood compartment. Makes sense, because you know you are getting an Equinox. You're gonna have lots of space to store things in your Equinox anyway, for sure. The thin light bar connecting the front turn signals is included in all but the base model, along with the tail lamps. These front lights put on a show as you approach with the key or report the battery status as the vehicle charges. The two-tone paint job seen in the photos is optional. LT trims can be had with white roofs, while the sportier RS trims can be painted with a black roof. So they're saying here the RS models also include a front bottom steering wheel and the choice of a black interior with red stitching or adrenaline red interior. So it's going to have some class here for sure. The screen for your instrument cluster is going to be 11-inch digital instrument cluster. Comes standard along with 11-inch infotainment screen that can be upgraded to a 17.7-inch unit in select trims. Super Cruise, GM's impressive hands-free driver assistance system that works on more than 400,000 miles of pre-mapped US and Canadian highways, is optional. Other upgrades include a heads-up display, the Bose stereo, a rear view camera mirror, 360-degree camera, and heated rear seats. So that's going to be some of your options if you want to upgrade to those. While it will launch in the fall of 2023 with a limited edition RS trim, Chevy is promising that it will produce a variety of trim levels at a range of price points in the first year of production. That's an important point to make here, folks, because while a low price point earns headlines, electric vehicles will only win over most buyers when they beat gas alternatives on price while offering similar and better ownership experiences. If Chevy is serious about keeping this price in check on the Equinox EV, this could be one of the first EVs to trigger a tidal wave of change. I agree as well, because like I say, a lot of the EV models that you buy today, if you go out, they're not cheap and they don't have really a lot of space in them. A lot of the EVs that you can actually go to a dealership and get today, and so if they're going to come out with an EV, an SUV EV model that can give you lots of interior room and cargo space, and so you can pack the whole family in at a price of $30,000, roughly around $30,000 is what they're saying here. I really do believe that it's gonna go very well for the Equinox for sure. So I hope you liked the video here. Please like and subscribe, and be safe out there no matter where you are in the internet world. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Okay, bye for now.